Here's the Logitech MX Revolution, and I'm just gonna tell you from the beginning that I love this mouse. It's definitely the best mouse I've ever used, and it's hard to use any other mouse after using this mouse. I want to talk about the design of this mouse and why I like it so much. As you can see, it looks like a really high quality mouse. It's kind of like a matte black on top, but then you got the chrome accents on the scroll wheel and the search button here. The Logitech logo isn't too loud or anything. I really like how the sides here are shiny. It gives it like a nice border, a nice trim. And then there's a whole nother texture on this side with the dots. And again, you got the nice chrome accented scroll wheel. And on the other side, it's just a very plain matte texture, and it's really smooth. It reminds me of some of those iPhone cases. So that's why I like the way this mouse looks. And then of course, the design really helps how ergonomic it is. So why do I like it? First of all, and this is the main thing for me with mice, believe it or not, it's so comfortable. Your hand just rests so naturally on it. It's got a very nice arch. This indentation on the side is perfect. Your thumb just lands right on that scroll wheel, so it's really useful to get to, and it just feels good. And for me, when you're using a computer, you have to be comfortable, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do your work as efficiently if your hand's not comfortable on your mouse. And I just love the way that it feels. So the MX Revolution is known for having lots of functions. So this mouse has several buttons, and I'll show you them all and go over what I have it set for. Like I mentioned earlier, the MX Revolution is known for the various functions that you can set for each of the buttons. So I'm going to go over some of the buttons and of course the functions. Here's the Logitech Control Center. Basically, they give you the name of the button and you can assign an action, and then at the bottom here you can actually configure that action. So, for example, the right button doesn't necessarily have to be a click. It can be a screen capture. So now that I have it set to screen capture, I can make it the whole screen, the window, or a region. So I'll just keep it at screen, and now if I right click on my desktop, there has been a screen capture saved. If I were to change the right button to quick look, I can select the screen capture and then right click on my mouse, and there's quick look. The next button here is what they call the micro gear precision scroll wheel, and it's called that because it's got two types of scrolling. There's hyper scroll, which is where you flick it and it just keeps scrolling for a pretty long time, and you can actually automatically stop it so it does the normal scroll, and you can actually feel the gears and hear it clicking. You know it's normal. So here's the hyper scroll, and you noticed I just started scrolling slower and it automatically shifted to the normal scrolling. So of course you can configure speed and acceleration, so it's very customizable to how you like it. But this scroll wheel also has horizontal scrolling, so tilt left and tilt right can be set to horizontal scrolling, or of course any of these other options. Right here there's a search button. You can configure this to search through the internet with Google or Yahoo, or locally with Spotlight or the Finder. On this side there are two arrow buttons, and these can be configured to anything. I currently have the thumb back as quick look and the thumb forward as a keystroke. So when you set a keystroke, you simply type the key you want, and then you can choose the modifier like Command, Control, or Shift. So I have it as Command C, which is copy. Beneath these two arrows there's a thumb wheel, because of course your thumb lays right on it, and it actually has three functions: forward, backward, and click. So you can set a function for each one of those. I have them as expose, show all windows, and application expose. And those pretty much are all of the configurable buttons. it's really handy. And when Snow Leopard first came out, this wasn't actually compatible. Don't worry, it is now, obviously. But it wasn't, and it was really hard for me to stop using all these functions because you get so used to it. Now that you know what I think of the MX Revolution, I just wanted to mention that I used to own, well, no, I still own it. I used to use the Apple Bluetooth Mighty Mouse, now known as the Apple Mouse, and I enjoyed it while I was using it, other than the fact that the scroll ball often broke because a lot of dirt got into it. But other than that, I didn't really mind how low it was because I hadn't used such a comfortable mouse yet. But now Apple recently released the Magic Mouse. Now the Magic Mouse seems like a really cool idea. It's got multi-touch capabilities, so the scrolling can be done just by moving your finger down the surface of the mouse. There's swiping. It's basically the same gestures that are on a trackpad on the MacBook. And I think that's nice because now everything's unified even more. The problem is the design. It looks gorgeous, but it's very uncomfortable. It's not ergonomic at all. So you look at this, this is the Mighty Mouse, and it's even thinner than the Mighty Mouse, which makes it even more difficult to grip onto, and you can't really rest your hand on the mouse at all. I ended up holding it in the Apple Store like this, literally, and that's just not a comfortable position, especially for long-term use on the computer. It's probably not good for your hand or your wrist or your fingers. You'll get all crampy or something. The mouse works fine. That's not the problem. The problem is the design, and Apple is so good with design. I'm really disappointed on how it came out. In addition, you're actually losing two function buttons because the Mighty Mouse had the squeeze buttons on the sides that could be used for expose, dashboard, showing the desktop, and then it also had the scroll ball, which could actually be clicked and used as a button. So you're actually losing two functions when going with the Mighty Mouse. Although you're gaining the touch, it's really not a huge deal anymore, in my opinion. But I just thought I'd let that out there because it's been really bugging me. So if you're in the market for a mouse, I really recommend the MX Revolution.